Hey everyone, Patrick Stocks from Ahrefs here. I have been asked a lot of questions about Brand Radar lately. I wanted to show you how I get insights out of this. I actually set up a couple custom prompt tracking projects. This one is based on the top pages report of Ahrefs. I basically fed that into an LLM and asked it to say like what kind of things are people searching for. I did this one based on the top pages of Ahrefs and competitors. Something I noticed, basically the data is pretty much the same. Pretty similar data as I went through both of them. Uh, for our global data set, though, it's a big difference. Like it tells a completely different story. So this is a little more unbiased. I think if you're looking specifically at your sites and competitors, you get a little more biased view. So you may actually need both. But going through, I want to show like, okay, so my bias data set, SEMrush and Ahrefs are basically the same. Visibility is very similar across the platforms. Share voice, we get a little more Chat GPT, they got a little more Gemini. We got a lot more in Perplexity, which is interesting, and quite a bit of a difference in Copilot also. So different platforms, different biases. Perplexity, for some reason, loves us. Chat GPT, also a win, but some of the others, I don't know, it's just a little different. It's interesting. Uh, We also have web visibility here, and I wanted to show you all this. This is based on, the pages that you're being mentioned on, that kind of thing. Uh, Pretty similar, I would say. Like Ahrefs is, I think, slightly more popular as far as like the pages on traffic. SEMrush slightly more popular on the number of web pages. And this is going to be the same data in if you're using like the global data set or not, because this is just from the web index actually. Um, the search demand is also from our traditional indexes. And this is basically every keyword that contains Ahrefs, every keyword that contains SEMrush. And the volume here, like, we're pretty dominant on brand search. A lot more queries, a lot more volume, which I thought was pretty interesting. There's another way you can do that actually in news. This will give you a slightly different view of the web page index. Sorry, if I go to news here, I thought this was kind of interesting. Again, like the all pages should be the same as what we just saw in overview. Yeah, same numbers. And then news here, kind of what happens is that, what I'm seeing is Ahrefs is mentioned a lot less. And I think on my other project I had similar web. I actually want to look at this. Yeah. So like Moz Majestic, I would throw these out because generic terms are going to appear on a lot of stuff. But the similar web and SEMrush, they seem to be on a lot more pages for news than Ahrefs is. They get a lot more, these pages see a lot more visitors. And I think probably the biggest difference is that these two companies are public, so they're included in quite a few articles about their stock pricing. But it's probably something we need to look into a little deeper and see, is there something we can do there? For the AI responses report, this is kind of a manual process. You could potentially like export this, ask an LLM to look through it, but I would look through things, at least top things that are more interesting to you. What tools are SEO professionals using? Like this is something we should be known for. SEMrush mentioned first, Ahrefs here second, backlink index, keyword tools. Best SEO tools for agency. Again, unfortunately, SEMrush mentioned first, Ahrefs mentioned second. Backlink intelligence, competitor research, keyword discovery. Best SEO tools overall. Kind of the same story. SEMrush mentioned first, Ahrefs second. Now, this is going to reflect kind of what's on the web. I'll talk a little more about this in a bit, about how you might be able to change this. But it's kind of controlling, influencing what is said on the web about you. And people typically mention SEMrush first. Ahrefs, they mention our backlink index and things. We have a lot more things that we do really well that I think we don't talk enough about, and that reflects in our users and the industry and the way that they talk about us. Topics, you can go through and just kind of look like, where you're doing well versus, the overall responses or versus specific competitors. I might be like, okay, like backlink checkers, SEMrush, Ahrefs roughly the same for, content gap analysis, keyword research. So we're probably doing fine there on a lot of these. Where we're missing, web design, website design, redesign, SEO. Nothing there. I don't even know if we have a blog about this, but if we do, that's probably something where we want to look at, what is actually being said here and why we're not being cited. We probably want to say, look at our article and say, we probably need to update to say some of the same things, maybe reorganize it a bit, and try and win those opportunities. Technical SEO checklist. I know we have an article for this, but apparently not good enough to be mentioned for any of the citation platforms. So that's the kind of thing I would look for here. One of the things I did notice was that a lot of the things we were kind of lacking in were around local. If I can type local correctly. I think to show more in the other project, but I'm gonna just go with this anyway. We don't have a lot of content around local SEO. It hasn't been that long ago. We actually did add a GBP monitor here, so you can get all your performance metrics, and we'll let you know if anything's changed on your business profile. Someone changes your website, your phone number, we'll send you an alert on all that. And we're adding some more features, like local SEO is a priority for us this year. And I think that's just not really reflected in our content. So kind of a missed opportunity, something we need to be there so that we can, pitch our product and everything. The domains also tell kind of interesting stories. I got this filtered to local still. One of the things that scares me a bit is that, of course, SEMrush is here. But then a bunch of SEMrush-owned websites, Backlinko, they have Search Engine Land. They own several websites. I think they bought Exploding Topics, Traffic Think Tank. This gives them an opportunity to be cited and kind of control that narrative. If a lot of these top-cited domains are owned by the same company, which you'll see in a lot of niches. I think maybe if you don't even realize it, but some search results, it'll be 8 of the results are the same company that owns that. That is really letting them kind of control all the content, what's being said. And, I know it was a strategy on Backlinko here. A lot of these articles they're talking about are targeting, SEMrush versus Ahrefs, best SEO tools, and they are able to influence what is being output in these citations. Other ones, so it's something where we need to look. We have detailed.com. I don't know that we want to go and spam this. I don't know how long these things are really going to last. We already saw kind of a crackdown on listicles. I could argue about that, but long story short, I think it's more the quality that's being output, not necessarily that people are citing themselves or anything. It's just they're not really like showing their expertise like you really need to be doing in product reviews. Um, but it's a case of should we do it, should we not do it, and probably at this point we should be doing it. Other things that are commonly cited, Reddit. This is going to be a lot of Reddit threads. You can actually like click in and see the different pages. So of course things about like best SEO tools and everything. Reddit, LinkedIn Pulse is going to be here a lot, both for informational content and like comparisons. I noticed Medium, YouTube, so the usual suspects, kind of for places where people are publishing content. These are very common for comparisons. And then the other things I noticed were, a lot of these are obviously our competitors, not much we can do there, but, some other industry news sites that aren't owned by competitors, like Search Engine Journal, I think they already like reference us pretty well. But if not, like I would reach out to them. Others are, affiliates of our competitors, and while we could potentially start an affiliate program again or do some kind of private deal or pay them off, I don't know that we want to bias it that way. I don't know that, even if that is working for now, potentially, these search engines, AI assistants, they could easily look at this and say, like, these are sponsored, like, I should just be discounting those. They probably will do that eventually. Others are, a lot of like agency websites and everything, some individuals. As I went through this, I was like, okay, like there's some folks that we could probably reach out to. They maybe had a bad experience. We could like resolve that, bring some goodwill. If you're willing to pay, to be listed, if you're friends with the author, make connections, I would say. Like these are your sites that these are people talking about you, talking about your competitors. Look, there's traffic. Things take another SEMrush one. Um, and it's a good chance to, yeah, just do some outreach, be a person, talk to them, see if there's something they'll do. A lot of these are, mentioning if it's like best SEO tools. A lot of them are mentioning. Let me actually do that. Let me search by topic and SEO tool. So if I'm specifically trying to influence, these SEO tool lists, um, these are who I'm gonna go for. Uh, these are the ones that are being cited in the things. Uh, Actually, if I just do this on the bigger data set, I think I'm gonna have a better result. Yeah. So instead of my track prompts, this is now like the global prompt data set, which is much bigger. So YouTube, like I want to be on YouTube. I want the videos to be talking about me. Um, all of these are the ones where, if they're all mentioning SEMrush first and Ahrefs second, that's probably why the LLMs are mentioning SEMrush first and Ahrefs second. There are ways that you could, again, outreach, befriend them, potentially pay them off, affiliate. Uh, there are ways where you could kind of control this better, control that order. Depending on how many you're up against, how many things are being cited, how strong your brand is, there's only so much you'll be able to do here, but these are all based on probabilities. If 80% of the time it has, all these sites have, SEMrush first, that's 80% of the time that the AI assistants are probably going to mention them first. So a lot of outreach, a lot of influencer marketing is going to be very popular in this era. Um, I did mention YouTube, but like we do have a video visibility index. It's kind of cool. Like you can actually, again, I would ignore Majestic and Moz for this, but like SEMrush versus Ahrefs, they're mentioned on a lot more videos, but the videos that we're mentioned on get a lot more views. Probably a lot of these are Samo, our own YouTube channel. But in general, like I think we're fine there. It would be nice if we had, a little more visibility on more of the videos. But I'm not too worried about that. I think we're pretty strong on YouTube, and you can get a bunch of like metrics and stuff down here. TikTok, um, I think we're gonna see this. Okay, we are not doing that well on TikTok. I'm not surprised. I think we might have started a TikTok channel, but it's not been something we focused on. I know SimRush was doing a bunch of videos there, so I'm not really surprised that they have more visibility. Uh, Kind of interesting on SimilarWeb. Like, looks like they might have a really dialed in TikTok strategy. I might have to go look at that and see what they're doing there. But they seem to be dominating on TikTok compared to us. Um, and then there's like the Reddit search visibility too, so you can just kind of see like how you're being mentioned. It's an insight into how you're being, if you're being there on Reddit or not. I would think we are. We're a little more active there. People like us a little more than I think the SimRush channel, but it's pretty close actually. Anyway, that is how I would use the tool. Those are some of the insights that I would look at, and I hope you learned something.